In the annals of American folklore, few figures are as enigmatic and unsettling as Madame Delphine LaLaurie. A woman of elegance and social standing, she was the epitome of southern grace and charm. Yet beneath the veneer of sophistication lay a darkness so profound it would forever etch her name into the grim history of New Orleans. This is not just a ghost story. It's a descent into the depths of human depravity, a journey that takes us behind the closed doors of a grand mansion and into the twisted mind of its mistress. This is the chilling life of Madame Delphine LaLaurie. Before we begin, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Mary Delphine Macartys, later known as Madame Delphine LaLaurie, was born on March 19, 1787 in New Orleans, Spanish Louisiana. She was one of 5 children in a family that was anything but ordinary. Her father, Louis Barthélemy de Macartys, was part of a lineage that had moved from Ireland to New Orleans in around 1730. The family was so prominent that they even shortened their Irish surname, Macartys, to Macartys. Her mother, Mary Jean L'Arable, was also known as the widow Lecomte, as she had been married before. Now, you might be thinking, well, she was born with a silver spoon. What could go wrong? But hold on, the plot thickens. Delphine's family was not just wealthy, they were influential. Her uncle by marriage, Esteban Rodriguez Miró, was the governor of Louisiana and Florida from 1785 to 1791. Her cousin, Augustine de Macartys, would later become the mayor of New Orleans, but with great power comes great responsibility, or in this case, a great potential for darkness. You see, Delphine was just 4 years old when the Haitian Revolution broke out in 1791. This was a time when slaveholders in the southern United States and the Caribbean were living in fear of slave revolts. And guess what? Delphine's own uncle had been murdered by his slaves in 1771. The revolution had also sparked local conspiracies like the Mina Conspiracy in 1791 and the Pointe Coupée Conspiracy in 1794. These events had profound impact on how slaveholders, including Delphine's family, treated their slaves. They were afraid, very afraid, and that fear often manifested in harsh treatment of their slaves. Ah, love. It's a beautiful thing, isn't it? But what happens when love turns into something darker, something twisted? Madame Delphine LaLaurie's love life, or should I say, her series of marriages that were anything but ordinary. Hold on tight, this is where things get really interesting. Picture this, a 13-year-old Delphine, more child than woman, standing in the grandeur of the St. Louis Cathedral. She is about to marry Don Ramón de López y Angulo, a man of Spanish royal descent, but as they say, till death do us part. Death came knocking sooner than anyone expected. On a voyage to Madrid, Don Ramón met his untimely end, leaving a pregnant Delphine to give birth alone. She named her daughter Marie Borja, a name that would soon be swallowed by the shadows of their family history. Eerie, isn't it? But Delphine didn't stay a widow for long. At the age of 21, she married again. This time, her husband was Jean Blanc, a man of many talents. He was a banker, a merchant, a lawyer, and even a legislator. Jean Blanc was so smitten with Delphine that he bought a house at 409 Royal Street just for them. They moved into this home, known as the Villa Blanc, and had 4 children. But here's where things take a dark turn yet again. Jean Blanc died in 1816. Just like that, Delphine was a widow again. You'd think that after 2 failed marriages, Delphine would give up on love. But no, she was a hopeless romantic, or maybe she had other motives. We can only guess. In 1825, she married for the 3rd time. Her new husband was Dr. Leonard Louis Nicolas LaLaurie, a physician who was 15 years her junior. The couple moved into the infamous mansion at 1140 Royal Street in 1831, bringing with them 2 of her daughters from previous marriages and an undetermined number of enslaved people. The mansion was the talk of the town, a picturesque exterior that hid levels of cruelty the city had never seen before or ever since. Whispers of strange noises, cries for help, and even the sound of chains rattling in the dead of night filled the air. But no one dared to investigate. Why? Because the LaLauries were respected members of society, and who would suspect them of any wrongdoing? But let's not forget, darkness can only remain hidden for so long, and on April 10, 1834, the LaLaurie Mansion became the epicenter of a fire that would forever change its history. It all started with a small blaze in the kitchen. Rumor had it that the fire was set by a slave cook chained to the stove. As a desperate act of rebellion, the flames quickly spread, engulfing the room in a smoky haze. Judge Jacques-François Canonge, a neighbor, was among the first to arrive. He had been helping the LaLauries move their valuables when he heard about the captive slaves. Despite Dr. LaLaurie's dismissive response, Judge Canonge ordered the doors to be broken down. What they found inside was beyond comprehension. As the rescuers ventured further into the mansion, they stumbled upon a locked door to the attic. The thick, heavy air was filled with a stench so foul it could make a grown man gag. With axes in hand, they broke down the door, and what lay before them was a scene straight out of hell. Slaves, both men and women, were chained to the walls. Some were strapped to makeshift operating tables, while others were confined in small cages. But that's not the worst part. The conditions they were kept in were so deplorable, so inhumane, that it's hard to put into words. They were emaciated, their eyes hollow from enduring unspeakable tortures. It was as if they had been subjected to the twisted experiments of mad scientists. The room was filled with a collection of whips, paddles, and other instruments of torture. It was clear that these poor souls had been subjected to unimaginable horrors, all under the roof of this grand mansion. And the mastermind behind it all, none other than Madame Delphine LaLaurie herself. Can you believe it? A woman of her standing, a pillar of society, was the architect of such evil. So what do you think happened next? Did Madame LaLaurie face the justice she so rightfully deserved? The fire's aftermath was a turning point. The discovery of the mansion's hidden chamber of horrors sent shockwaves through New Orleans, and the city was abuzz with whispers and rumors, each more chilling than the last. A mob gathered outside the establishment, outraged by the revelations. They ransacked the mansion, destroying its lavish furnishing, but Madame LaLaurie vanished. That's right, she disappeared into thin air, as if swallowed by the darkness she herself had created. Some say she fled to Paris, living out her days in opulent exile. What we do also know is that Madame LaLaurie died on September 7, 1849, in Paris. The cause remained a mystery, although letters suggest she'd been suffering from a lingering illness. Even in death, rumors persisted. A corroded epitaph plate found in St. Louis I Cemetery in New Orleans led to speculation about her final resting place. Records indicate her body was exhumed in Paris and sent back to New Orleans, but the truth remains elusive. But the LaLaurie Mansion didn't just stop at being a haunted house, it evolved into a nexus of unexplained phenomena. After the fire, the mansion was transformed into an apartment complex. Soon after, a tenant was found murdered under mysterious circumstances. The nature of his death was so unusual that it couldn't be explained by conventional means, pointing instead to paranormal activity. In a twist that could only be described as chilling, the mansion later served as an all-girls school in the mid-19th century. Here, young students reported bizarre and random physical assaults that had no logical explanation. The mansion seemed to be a magnet for inexplicable, terrifying events, solidifying its reputation as a cursed structure. Interestingly, some of the tales about Madame LaLaurie's cruelty bear a striking resemblance to another infamous historical figure. Elizabeth Bathory, a 14th century Hungarian countess known for her sadistic treatment of young women. Could it be that storytellers have borrowed elements from Bathory's life to embellish the LaLaurie legend, or is there a darker truth that binds these two women across time and geography? Whatever it may be, it's as if the souls of those who suffered were crying out for justice, a justice that never came. And what of the slaves who survived the nightmarish ordeal? Their fates are largely unknown, lost in the annals of history. But one thing's for sure, the scars they bore, both physical and emotional, were a testament to the depths of human cruelty. It's a chilling tale though, isn't it? If you liked the video, please consider subscribing and sharing so we can keep bringing more content like this. See you next time.